see. Let me get this mic straight here. How y'all doing today? Appreciate y'all stopping by. We're going to be checking out the Future Impact today. It's a pedal I just got in. Let me get this straight here. Just got it in a day or two ago. So, what this pedal pretty much allows you to do is transform your bass into a bass synth, right? But it does a few special things. Now, let's go ahead and get the conversation started about this versus the C4 synth versus the Enzo X, versus the MXR bass synth that just came out, right? So I'll tell you right now, this pedal has a tremendous amount of parameters. As you can see on the screen, that's the software there, which we'll dive into just a little bit. I think a lot of people are getting this software really confused. It's not really difficult. It's just you have to know what things are and how like the signal path flows. So, I kind of was playing through some sounds that I created there. I played through a few more. Bring this back some. Now, I will say, compared to other pedals, the way they track, this one likes a much fuller sound. So, I don't really have my bass cut. I don't actually have my bass boosted on my bass. EQ-wise, you kind of got to shape each synth pedal, or shape your bass's tone to each synth pedal. They require different things. So this one requires like a boost in the low end to really get those, those bass frequencies to be just enough. Then you want to really boost the high mids and even boost the highs a little bit. So without the pedal, that's pretty much the sound I have. Right? And that gets me to be able to right, so the tracking on this thing is not, exactly perfect. This is the speed, it has two different tracking modes, the speed mode, and the accuracy mode. Which one do you want to be more priority? So I switch over to the accuracy mode real quick. But if you try to play fast, it will not play the note until it is fully 100% sure that that's the note. Compared to the speed one, kind of it gives you what it really thinks it is as fast as possible. So. So, gives you nice bass sounds that way. So, let's go through a few sounds real quick, because I know that's what most people are here for. This pedal is very hard to find information on, very hard for a lot of people to even get their hands on at times. So now some of the keys to the tracking as well. You really gotta play with that note on and note off levels. And just so you have a reference, mine are set to, the note off is set to 48 and the note on is set to 30. So that's a global, pretty much that's a global thing to the unit. So no matter when you're switching patches, that will stay the same. So I'd say that's really the key. Otherwise, you get a bunch of misfires and stuff. But you can get it relatively clean, especially if you're not playing any faster lines. If you're just doing stuff like, you can get away with all that stuff. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry about that. But that's, so as you going through the unit, oh, before I forget, well, not even forget, I want to shout out to Neo Lover 23. He's one of the subscribers, part of the bass community here. He was a tremendous help in helping me get this pedal. And, so please, if you happen to know him or you see him on the chat, thank him for the Future Impact V4 VIP review. This is definitely, he definitely helped me out a lot. So I appreciate that, my guy. So now, I'll say this. I don't really like these stock sounds. But I love the sounds I can create with it. Like all the sounds you've heard so far are sounds that I've created. So far, I've done 11 of them. I got to do a pack for everything. Of course, that was part of the agreement that I would do a preset pack for the Future Impact. So all of these sounds will be available on Patreon as soon as I finish making this pack. And as you can see, it's a lot of parameters, a lot of experimenting I have to do to get these sounds. So, give me like a week and I'll have a Future Impact pack as well. So, this thing definitely has some nice sounds in it. Here's actually one of the stock sounds I just did some editing to. So one of the other cool features of this pedal, other than the sounds, right? So we're going through sounds and things like that at the moment. Just straight up bass synth. Straight up bass synth sounds, right? It does have some lead sounds in here. You can create some pads with the harmonizer and the harm mixer, and you know, you got a little bit of everything in here. So let's go over to this software real quick. See what we get. So I'm gonna turn off all these other oscillators. So what you're looking at, if you look at the top, if you look at the program, you got the future impact part where it says like program, load, save, write. That's in the top left and all that stuff. So that's just telling you, you know, the preset that's saved. Now, one thing I will say, you have to save them in this format that you see. So you got to have the number underscore bass underscore then the name. So you have to save it like that in order for them, you know, and then you have to put the number of the preset slot that you want to have that in, you know, so that's also a thing. All right, so then of course if you look right next to that, you have the tracking, which is on speed. Then next to that you got a bunch of flexi controls, you know, which you can assign to different things, and then assign this to various things of synths and stuff. So oh, let me mention this while we're here. This thing, you can play through this pedal. You can play it with a keyboard, or you can play a keyboard with this pedal. That's amazing. So like I was last night I was running what's this? Main stage, and I can run main stage into the future impact. Right, and that's kind of crazy. Let me see here, give you a quick example. This ain't gonna sound too good probably. Hope this doesn't mess up my stream, but I'm gonna have to, gotta try it. Let's see, it's just a keyboard. We're gonna pull up a keyboard real quick in main stage. So I have the pedal completely hooked up to the a H2 MIDI Pro by CME, and that allows me to have MIDI input into my control, I use it for my pedal board as a MIDI distributor, you know, pretty much controls the network of my MIDI of my effects, but I'm using it in this case to control an instrument in main stage. So I'm gonna go to main stage. I gotta change my buffer size because I know it's gonna act up with everything running. So let's do 256. Hopefully that'll let me rock. That's actually the keyboard from, that's a Rhodes sound. I can change that to a bass synth sound. And this is even before we even getting into the software, because I want to do this part because for me, the ability to do this is almost worth the price of the joint itself. So even if I wanted to come in here and say I wanted to do like a upright bass or something, let's pull that up. So I'm gonna mute the synth channel. Here's just main stage. Say I wanted to do synth basses in here. I don't even have to design any sounds. I can really just use it to control other keyboards or modules or whatever the case, in addition to actually designing the sounds on there. So let's say 90s. And if I want to use the higher, if I want to take that up an octave, I can come into the software, and I wonder if, I don't think you guys can see my mouse, but if you look at the Future Impact Editor 4 software, right underneath, right above the EQ section that you're seeing, right above the EQ graph, you see like harmonizer, harm mixer, distortion, like internal, external. Go to external. I can actually transpose my bass up back to the regular octave. I had it down a octave. And this is crazy. That is insane. The fact that I can do that and the latency. To me, that's almost a better way of using this pedal than using the software. I mean, using the internal sounds, like just doing that. And that's all through MIDI. I know they originally said you can only do it through the CV, the voltage controls. I mean, the control voltage. But now with the upgrade, firmware upgrade they did, you can now control any MIDI keyboard. So even if I want to take my my motif I have over there in the corner and use the synth bass on that, I can literally do all that from my pedal and never actually have to play keyboard. Or I can get some rack modules and have all different types of sounds. So this opens it up like the Roland. That Roland was the V99, the real big Roland synth unit. This opens that up to like that type of thing, like where you can, I can literally play other software synths with it. Mind you, I can just, it could be anything. I can play horns. Let's see, it's called a 6-piece horn section. Play a little trumpet. Give me 1 second. What is the thing doing? Let's do a new patch. And we're going to put, again, a trumpet on there. Should be getting. Why am I not coming through? Do this, create instrument. And see, this the other part of stuff, you know, you just be kind. Gotta experiment, get it done, whatever. But I thought this was really interesting. Why is this stuff not coming in? Yeah, I probably gotta. Oh, that's just the way that sounds. Okay. Literally allowing you to turn your bass into that synth sound. Like, that's insane. Like, I can't think of anything else that's even relatively close. This is new. This is you can order a brand new one of these right now if you Google it, from Panda Audios who make it. But it's they not like it's a very small company. I think it's only a few of them that work on this. One main guy who used to work for other effects companies and designed a lot of stuff. Like he designed the original Deep Impact. So he's just been upgrading that. He's definitely amazing at this. This is amazing. And like I said, what you're listening to is not even the pedal. I still can play the pedal internal sounds at the same time. And I can literally change that to, imagine I'm running the sound from the Deep Impact. That's the synth bass sound you're hearing. This sound, it's one of the sounds I designed on there. And then here's main stage. Let me switch that sound up. Let me see what else I can get on there. I really want that trumpet sound, but they acting weird. They really don't want to let me use this horn section. All right. Let's see what else we got on here. And if I want that to be in a different register, I can just come back over to the Panda Audio software, come back to where I transposed it up before, in the same part where it says internal, external, right next to main mixer, and distortion, right above the EQ graphic you see there. Look, I'm moving the slider up and down now. Hopefully that gets your attention. This slider, I can take it up 1 octave. Or I can take it up 2 octaves. And the only reason there's a difference, slight delay in the the main stage sound is because of the buffer size I have to use while I'm streaming. But when I had it at 16 or 32, when I wasn't streaming, it's perfectly in sync with the internal sound. Now, like I said, you can still play this internal sound with a keyboard. Even in the software, you can come down here and audition sounds by pressing the keyboard. All very useful features. So, the real cool thing about this, let me make sure we're not skipping no frames or nothing. Oh yeah, I love some bass synths. You know what I'm saying? Like I love designing them. If you notice, the last few pedals I've really been showcasing have been synth pedals. The market has really opened up. Yeah, I saw the new MXR joint. I'm probably gonna review it, but to be honest, like the pedals, only thing I'm interested with that one is the tracking. I want to see how it really tracks in person, because nobody really be playing the joints for real. Like if you watch everybody's video, they play it, like play a bass line, but we all know some points you want to do fills and different things like that. You know, they just kind of show you the good parts about stuff a lot of times. One of the benefits of a channel like this is thanks to, like, my man, my guy showed up. My man. Oh, see, this is my guy right here. Ain't he gonna help me get the MXR joint? Y'all give it up for my guy. He's helping the bass community. This allows me to give y'all real reviews. But Neo Lover 23, man, I appreciate you so much. I told you I'd get it, and I told you I'll be working on a pack for you. So I'm literally 11 presets in. You know, I'll go back through some just for you because we got to. You half of the reason we here. And now you guys were asking about the MXR. If you ever want to contribute and help, you know, help the community get an honest review of something that's not being paid for by the company. If you notice, all those videos dropped at the same day. Yeah, the tracking really is, and the tracking is the real test, and that's another reason why sometimes I leave my mic on, so hopefully you guys can hear me hitting the strings. All right, let me turn off on main stage. This is actually, like I said, this joint is fire for the fact that it can play the internal sound and play an external MIDI capable synth. That is amazing. I can play the Enzo X with this pedal as well, and that way I only need the Future Impact to track, and the Enzo X, I can still use those sounds, and it allows me to use both synth pedals at the same time. That's crazy. That's crazy. So let's jump into let's go through some of these sounds real quick. Man, I appreciate you, Neil. You I thank you so much. And as you can see, you know, if you give me something with a purpose in mind, I'm going to go show up with it. It ain't take me long. It took as long as it took to get it in the mail. You know, I really believe in that integrity of having some reviews that aren't paid for. So let's go. If anybody else want to help out, I greatly appreciate it. But Neo, thank you so much for helping make this happen and for making the MXR bass synth pedal happen, because of course I got to get it now. Got no choice now. Okay, so I'm noticing, like, in the tracking, it doesn't like fifths a whole lot. Doesn't like those octaves too much either. You give it a little bit more time. That's literally what I'm doing. Okay, So that's one thing. And the thing is, with people gotta understand, with pedals like this, they're not gonna be perfect. They all gonna have their little quirks and little things that, so it's important to just kind of know that more than it is to just avoid things altogether, because these are some great sounds. And you gotta really play them octaves super clean. This is without the pedal. That's about as clean as anybody. So, you gotta watch out for the octaves and the fifths. Everything else, you pretty much fine. Yeah, so it's just a smidge of glitch, It can, and that's the thing too. Like, this is each one of these synth pedals is its own thing. But that sounds way too loud. I'm gonna go through some of these controls too, because I seen some misinformation on the old internet there. Let's just leave that there, and we'll bring it down here. 3. Four. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Is the overtone series is kind of confusing it with the fifths, but this one. Now, I will say this joint tracks all the way down. All the way down. So even if you don't want to create, like have to play like an octave pedal up here, you can literally take all that. Let me see right here. If you look right, so if you look in the center of the software, you'll see that red box. If you look right under that, it says VCO. And so like I have pretty much whatever I'm playing coming into my into the pedal automatically going down an octave. I have a trend, so I'm gonna move this up. I'm gonna slide it up and down, so you guys can hopefully recognize it on the screen. You see that, the one right in the middle. So I'm gonna bring that back to. And one thing I did find is the reason I transposed that down the octaves, because it tracks better than if I have all these pitches. I don't know why it tracks better this way. It just tracks better that way for me. I don't know. I took it down an octave just to here. I'll let you. See, it's like. But when you take it down an octave, for some reason, it just feels better to me. And like, mind you, I did try taking it, adjusting the pitches. Like if you look all the way to the left of the software, you'll see where it says pitch, and all those are, so each one of these boxes are a different oscillator. So a different waveform, or that you can use. I like to, you can mix saw, square, and triangle for all of these. So really you can have like 3 different waveforms that are form into one with different offsets and different things. The pulse width is for the square wave. The saw VCA is for the saw wave, and there's nothing for the triangle but the triangle wave. Then you got the volume there. But where it says pitch, I tried taking it down there and having those adjusted differently, and it just didn't track as well. Plus, this way, I feel like I actually get that real bass synth sub when I drop the one all the way on the bottom down to 12. But and you can actually, let's turn some stuff off so you can just hear the oscillators. Let's turn that off. Turn that off. No distortion. Ooh, it's hot. That's what the oscillator sounds like by itself. Let me even turn off this EQ. See if there's chorus on. Let me turn the chorus off. Turn the overdrive off. Just trying to get just the oscillator. There we go. Yeah, it definitely does have this, and the C4 synth have very, very similar sounds. Like you could, I'm pretty sure I could get almost a lot of the same sounds. Like they're both so different. Like there's sounds that this Future Impact can get that the C4 synth can't. Mind you, I do have a C4 synth pack of 47 different bass synths for the C4 synth if you need that over on Patreon. So, yeah, so this is just the waveforms by itself. Let's see, let's do we're going to do just the top one. So, I don't know if you guys can, let me see. You see me moving that knob there? That's the pitch knob. So we can have this set for wherever we need it to. If we need to take it down 2 octaves all the way up to 4 octaves. That's what it sounds like all the way up 4 octaves. So if you wanted something like that, you just drop that pitch. Something else is still on. That was it. Yep, there we go. Now it's just that first one. Just the saw wave. So this how you kind of do it. You want to work with one thing at a time. So again, I'm just working in the box directly under program right now. So the top left box that says Future Impact, right under that. And so with the saw wave you have here, let me make sure the square one's all the way off. Okay, it doesn't want to move for me. I'll click on something else. So let's bring this up an octave. And you can, this is also where you do your detune. You could do a detune with the fine knob, with the fine slider, or the beat slider. The beat one is more going to give you like a hertz, and this is going to give you, fine is going to do like parts of a semitone. So that's the basic waveform we're working with right now. All right, so now we can change the decay of that. See, it's more immediate there. So we do that, kind of ease into it there. Get that nice classic saw wave there. Right next to that. What is going on? Why is this thing not moving? I hate that. That's okay. You will find little glitches every once in a while. I don't really hold that. I mean, they're making updates as well. So, nice square wave. We on the second box now. I turned the first box off because for some reason this saw slider is not trying to move. And I don't want to have to restart the program. So, here's the triangle. Right, and that's with the filter off. That's just the waves down to have a octave, right? So let me see what we got here. Yeah, you can get some crazy sounds from here playing with the octaves of it. So like if you take this up an octave, it's gonna have a particular sound. If you take it up another octave, you get that real classic you're almost to that classic synth sound there already. That's a classic like lead synth sound. So we'll actually leave that there, right? Since we got this down an octave over here. I hate that I can't move that. That's irritating. You know what? I'm just shut it down and not the stream, but I'm gonna just close this. Oh no!